Yannick Reid is a young filmmaker and photographer who works with some of Jamaica's most established artists and who prides himself on being a professional capable of executing ideas gracefully. This morning he's here to share a little with us about his career in the creative industry. Hey Yannick, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Delia. Morning, morning. How are you? Morning,
I'm
everybody in Jamaica.
no light or water, but I'm giving thanks. Tell me
It's
a
part
little
of.
bit about your background in the creative industry. How long have you been working in the creative industry?
Well, I'd say part time. It works to my background because my dad is a photographer. He just came back from shooting the Olympics. Big up, dad. He carried me to some fest I can remember as early as probably like 2008. So if we're counting from there, that would be like 14 years. But
Mm-hmm.
I left college in 2014 to be a full-time creative. So that's about 7 years. And my mom is an interior decorator. So I had this wonderful background where I grew up with two creative parents. So, I never really grew up with the weird perception that, being a creative full-time is not a viable job. So that's really how I kind of naturally gravitated towards creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's how I'm kind of here today.
Yeah. So I'm sure. I mean, you're a film director, photographer. How much did your dad being a photographer influence you?
A whole lot because I've been around cameras for as long as I can remember. I
Okay.
love photography. I was really curious about video. None of his cameras shot video at the time, but I was always trying to sneak his phone away to make my own little home videos and stuff like that. So both their influences on me are, I would say, huge because I remember being fascinated in them from I was really small. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 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 Wonderful. One of the things, the misconceptions about creatives is people think we just kind of float. But one of the things that in the introduction spoke about your values and your work ethic as a creative, which I think are very important if you're going to be successful. So talk to me a
Mhm.
little bit about your approach to creativity and your work ethic.
Well, that's a great question, actually, and I'd love to speak about that. So, I remember entering into the creative industry, you know, learning things like pricing and agreements and all of these stuff were extremely intimidating, and there's not a lot of information that was available at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, and I still realize to this moment, that it is not that we're lacking talent in any way in Jamaica, but it is that resources to understand how to communicate between a vendor, creative, and a client. It's in those situations where a lot of creatives who are introverts will kind of break down because they feel pressured or intimidated to accept anything that comes from a client and they don't know how to reasonably set expectations. So my ethics come a lot from being able to communicate as best as possible with the people that I work with to create an open and transparent environment, as well as a fun environment where people feel safe that they can be honest about their expectations. And in my position as a creative director for project, I also hire other creatives. So I understand how it feels to be hired. So I always try to create a situation for other creatives to feel like they can work in a comfortable environment, love the work that they do, and be compensated fairly for it. So those are my ethics.
Yeah, and you raised something that's a whole different conversation. And Dr. Deborah Hicklin would agree it needs certain types of structures because that's
Yeah,
why in some places they don't deal with the creative directly. They come through management and agents because the business,
definitely.
yeah, the business part is, yeah, it's always crazy. So you've worked with, tell me about the journey because not every creative gets to work with top and established artists. You've worked with Proto. I'm seeing now Coffee. How we end up this? How we reach this, Yannick?
Well, I don't want, I'm glad to have this opportunity to speak about myself, but I'd also love to take the opportunity to not underplay the role that kindness has done in giving me this position that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I got to work to Protege because one of my best friends, Matthew McCarthy, who is a great muralist in Jamaica, has been doing a lot of murals. He gave up the position to give to me. You know, he just told Protege, you know, Protege, I don't really want to be doing like video anymore. But my friend here, Yannick, he loves this. He's super passionate about it. And I think he'll be the perfect fit. So I was actually gifted this job from a friend, and I'm eternally grateful to him for it.
Wow.
And that level of kindness is something that I have sought to pay back and give back to the creative community as well. Working with coffee is also just kindness that has been given to me due to the work that I've been doing with Protege. Without Protege, you know, he always takes the time out to mention the contribution that I do to his work. And I think coffee has taken note of that. And we have a good working relationship as well. So kindness has also been a powerful factor of bringing me here to work with these people. So I always have to give thanks for what has been given to me in this position.
Listen, you have a spirit of gratitude, and I tell people that's a lot. When you're grateful, more blessings come your way. Because the reality is, if you know, your friend made a recommendation, and you lived up to that, and if you're never good, Proto would I tell you, he's very honest.
That's true. That's true. That's so true.
What are some of the memorable projects that you've worked on? Like you've done one, and when you go home, you say, wow, I did that.
Yeah, there. Honestly, I've been blessed to have like so many, and it feel like if I don't mention one, I'm not honoring all of
All
them.
of them? Yeah,
But
I get you.
let me just try go through like a quick set. You know, I got to go to Ethiopia with Protege, which was my first time going to Africa. As a Black person, to go and see the motherland, as well as just being a country where, you know, Black people are the actual majority, is magical.
Yes.
It was a wonderful experience
Yes.
working with Coffee on lockdown. Doing that project is like, while doing that project, you could feel that it was something powerful and magical happening. That was awesome. Working with Protege to do the visualizers for his latest release, In Search of Lost Time. That was something that was so awesome because a lot of people weren't really doing visualizers at the time. So it was kind of an open field to experiment. And it was an opportunity where he and I got to really just test a lot of different things creatively and really kind of push the envelope. So those are three things that kind of stand out that make me feel really happy and proud to be in the position that I'm in.
All right, well, you've done, I mean, lockdown, 50 million views. Hey, as a director, that's something else. You directed the MasterCard ad with Coffee, the co-directed the Clarkson Jamaica campaign. Before we go, what's next for Yannick? What's the big goal? Movies, short films?
Yeah, well, I work on a personal project called Very Culture, and we've also been partnering with the New Wave Jamaica, and both of these initiatives work to highlight both Jamaican culture as well as local creatives to the world. So these projects that I work on the side is that we're trying to just document as much about Jamaican culture as possible. So some documentaries will be coming out, and with New Wave, our objective is really just to show the rich tapestry of creative talent that we have in Jamaica and try and facilitate as much to educating our own people about the creative talents that are here as well as the world. So that's what we're really focusing on and working towards. That's our goals, yeah.
Very proud of you, Yannick. Some great work, and we're looking forward to even greater things from you. Jamaica has, I continue to say, the most talented young people in the world, and I'm proud to say you are one of them.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
All right. Big up mommy and daddy for me. Yannick Reid, film director and photographer. Listen, it pays to be kind, so spread some kindness to them and be thankful. More and smile after the break. We'll soon come.